I know something was said last night when the cake was being cut, but I do think that we ought to show our appreciation for all the work they've put in, both here and in Bath. In my view, we've been looked after extremely well. The whole affair has been run beautifully. I'm sure we've all had a lovely time, even if the heat has been somewhat oppressive on occasions. I can't imagine the amount of work that Lucy and Adrian have had to put in, but I think it would be nice if we could start the proceedings today by just showing our appreciation for all the work that they've put in. So if you join me.
We're just going to start with the film that we were watching yesterday. What's it called again?
It's up there.
For about 10-15 minutes, and the rest of the film will be shown later, about midday. So it's a three-parter.
Okay.
Oh, and then Ido is going to continue the atomic stuff.
Pyramid Age or the Stone Age, for instance, or was the Delphic matriarchy that Apollo overturned unlikely to promote such values and practices? A single day without military manoeuvres or production would save enough money to permanently feed and house all the people on this planet. The UN isn't bothered about this, and advertising has shown its colours. Clearly, such humanity is not consistent with the old established order of Bronze Age mind. The final meme in Bronze Age mythology that I want to mention, and the one served by all the others mentioned so far, is acquisition. Acquisition is the ultimate goal, written all over the face of society. This Midas craving to have and consume more at the expense of others is pointed to by one of Freud's leading students, Erich Fromm, in his book To Have or To Be. It is rooted in a deep-seated sense of unease and insecurity. This insecurity behind the desire for material acquisitiveness, this dis-ease that makes us so insatiably greedy, leads to a demand for instant gratification, which opens the door to the torment of addictions of all sorts. First you separate from oneness, then you group up into factions, then you contest meaning, then you conquer, and finally you own, define and consume everything. That's the Bronze Age mythology in a nutshell. This brief profile of heroic Bronze Age mythology shows a mindset marked by torment, insecurity, will to power, Oedipal complexes, factionalism, materialistic greed and dualistic alienation. In its time it was a crucial step in human development, but in our time it is seriously threatening the future of human and earthly life. It is information rich but meaning poor. It covers our entire existence, but it's so full of holes it offers more threat than protection. It is swollen with pride in its entrenchment and beggars belief that we might let ourselves die out rather than mature. The whole situation has become untenable. Change is necessary and inevitable. The only question remaining is what kind of change will we see, which depends on the kind of seeds we sow now. That about sums up the challenges to be addressed by any new age in human development. We're halfway through the video, so now for the good news. Let's take a look at how the electric universe solves some of these old problems of Bronze Age mythology. Back in the 60s, Thomas Kuhn wrote a seminal work entitled The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. It introduces the idea of paradigms in physical and social sciences, and outlines the process by which these paradigms change. Kuhn describes how scientific revolutions occur by a process he calls paradigm shift. New understandings and practices gradually fill the holes in the old paradigm until it reaches a tipping point where a new paradigm emerges, overturning and replacing the old one. We've seen a whole host of physical and social scientific revolutions in our own lifetime all over the place. But what is it that has held so many of them back from completing their big picture potential till now? Why don't we have free renewable energy in our homes with pollution-free cars running on free energy? Why no widespread growth of small-scale organic food production? Why hunger and constant war? Why still racism and sexism? Why is education and even democracy itself held back from the profound and enlightened recasting we are now capable of? Why still a global financial system of perpetual debt slavery? Why still a growing wealth gap already so polarised that it implies two completely different species? We already have all the alternatives we need to see a broad front of scientific revolutions with the combined potential to add up to millennial social change. So why isn't the longed-for change swinging into action and sweeping the world? What exactly is keeping all this great potential from becoming kinetic? How did we get diverted from the brave new road to utopian ideals onto today's cowardly dystopian superhighway? Obvious and endlessly debatable conspiracy theories aside, there's a profound answer to why this wave of scientific revolutions has not fully flowered. It comes via Carl Jung's assertion that mankind has lost its sense of cosmological belonging. In other words, according to Jung, people feel like they do not belong in and with the world, even as if they are alien to the whole cosmos, or the cosmos is alien to them. A sense of cosmological belonging is the basis of all attempts to make meaning, and conversely, the lack of cosmological belonging in today's world pulls us into a black hole vortex of nihilism, where nothing means anything at all, thus driving the lack of belonging to dizzying new depths all the time. This is fundamentally disorienting, making people suggestible and easily manipulated. And yes, cosmological orientation is precisely what the electric universe theory provides. Mythography shows how all social and cultural organising principles stem from cosmology, starting with the concepts of time, form, geometry and number, with values and behaviour systems growing entwined, almost like the twin snakes of an electric filament to shed light on meaning. These organising principles, values and behaviours comprise the fabric of human life. It follows then that if we get the cosmology right, all the things under it will unfold as they should. Of course, we can never know we have the cosmology all right. There may be too many unknowables, but it needs to be credible and cohesive and to fit right with the needs of our historical context. The electric universe model satisfies these conditions, and it may even be right, the whole story, for all we can know. The unfolding of the fabric of humanity under new skies, under the cosmology of the electric universe, includes the freeing up of all the alternatives sitting up our sleeves. All we need to do is roll them up. The electric universe is the keystone to the arc of change. It's the only thing that can hold the whole triumphal arch together. It only remains to look briefly at some of the key indicators of how the electric universe theory fits with our new social and cultural context, to assess how it fits with our current state of knowledge and needs, and to outline its relevance to emerging scientific revolutions. As I said at the beginning of this video, the electric universe theory brings to the table the idea that gravity is not the only force active in the cosmos. It points to the indisputable electromagnetic forces of the stars and planets and states the obvious, that electricity, or electromagnetism to give it its full name, is also present in the cosmos. Gravity is a very weak force. It takes the gravitational force of our entire planet to make a spoon stay on a table. But electromagnetism is such a strong force that a small magnet can easily overpower the force of gravity and pick up the spoon. Electric universe theory shows the unity of all being, our cells, our brains, our bodies, our planet, the solar system, the stars and the galaxies all involve electrical processes. Let's take a look at how this pans out in relation to assessing the suitability of electric universe as a cosmology on which to base a new mythology. We find quite a different kind of architecture with electric universe mythology than with the Bronze Age mythology. Firstly, it's no longer located in the Bronze Age stage of human development. It's not heroic or tragic. It's got beyond that. Second, it's not based on a number of pillars, like the separation, grouping, contest, conquest and acquisition of the Bronze Age mind. It's a unifying arc, a bond of bright presence, a covenant of universal connectivity. Electric mind is the circuitry of the entire archetype cycle. There are no memes like separateness, grouping and so on. It is the meme. And that meme is all about connectivity. The mechanics of electric mind, as implied by the electric universe theory, is simply one of on or off, like the binary code in computers, like the synaptic firing in our brains. This connectivity principle is the hub for converging paradigm shifts in all key areas of scientific and social development. Here's just a sample. Physics. In physics, the connectivity principle allows for what I call immediacy, regardless of location. According to relativity theory, nothing travels faster than light, which is a bit of a problem when we know that subatomic particles like bosons and neutrinos actually do travel faster than light, which means in effect that time travel is possible. Recent work in China has shown that quantum interaction is at least 10,000 times faster than light. An event thousands of light years away can have an instantaneous effect here. Einstein suspected as much himself and was well aware of what he called spooky action at a distance. He knew his equation E equals mc squared only applied to objects moving relative to each other, and was not a proof of an energy-matter connection, but of an energy-matter-momentum connection. Post-Einstein, Bell's theorem of non-local effects shows how events are linked faster than light or superluminal, regardless of time and space. Bell's theorem opens the possibility that beyond our senses, everything may exist everywhere in an eternal ocean stream of pure being, which we just dip into to experience snapshots at specific locations in space-time. Bell's findings have been confirmed every time they've been tested by other physicists. This aspect of immediacy signals potential for a new mythological framework that replaces the survival of the fittest ethos of evolutionist naturalism with the more socially aware ethos of unity, pointed to in the old African proverb: if you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel far, travel together. Ecology. Our increased...
I think we might stop there, since I believe the next speaker is due about now. Thank you.
So you can watch the rest of the film at midday, I think. Now, Ido's going to continue.